All right. Basically Monday, episode 59 on the 29th. July, back again. Is this 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row? I don't know. But
Three.
uh all right, 3 weeks in a row. That's just amazing. And again, here with our two co-hosts, my two lovely friends who you just heard, John. John, how are you
I'm
this week?
doing I'm doing good.
Great to hear. And Valero, how are you this week?
Pretty good. Not too bad.
What was the last thing that made you laugh before we started recording? Valero.
Mm, I didn't laugh at all during our conversation. I guess not. What was the last thing that made me laugh? I probably I was on Reddit and I saw this Rocket League like clip of someone getting scored on, and this guy like was under the ball with his car, like the ball was like and they were both in the air. Like the guy was under the ball in the air, and the ball was on top of him, but he was upside down, so his wheels were touching the ball, and he was just like spinning, like like a helicopter. And somehow, like the ball and him were just staying in the air until they just like magically floated into the goal. Like it was just like yeah, he's like, he just posted this. He's like, this is what some guy did to me. He's like, I'm in Diamond One, which is like not a high league. Like that should never be happening to someone in Diamond One. But yeah, I was laughing pretty hard at that
Was that
because
a
it was like
one-on-one?
unreal. Yeah, yeah, I think it was a one-on-one clip.
Okay. Wait, so how many levels are above diamond? I just have an issue with the naming convention if diamond is not even that high.
I think Diamond is exactly considered like a C plus, basically.
Gee.
Like
Okay.
Diamond One is like a C, and Plat Three is right underneath Diamond One, and that's like a C minus. I don't know, like so. Yeah, yeah. I think
There's
that's how the
there's three.
convention goes.
There's three above diamond.
Now how many below?
Three, bronze,
Three.
silver, and gold,
Yeah,
and, oh,
three.
and plat.
Oh, four. Yeah.
So
Okay.
four.
All right. I guess that makes a little bit more sense. Well, speaking of platinum and gold and bronze, have you guys been watching any of the Olympics? We had the opening ceremony on Friday. Did you expose uh John while you mess with your cat? Did you expose your daughter to any of the Olympic festivities?
Yeah, we watched a bunch of the sort of I don't know what to call them, but the less popular sports. And then some of the qualifying rounds for gymnastics. But yeah, one of the ones we watched was like trampoline, which was interesting because like they literally are just on the trampoline. And she's been really interested in trampolines recently because she does that at gymnastics. And we recently got a trampoline, so she likes to bounce on the
Okay.
trampoline a lot. Yeah, so
You mean like for adults, or is it like a small like workout trampoline if it were
uh, no, an adult can bounce. I mean, I would say it's probably more suited for kids, but an adult, like if up to 300 pounds, it could support. So yeah, it's a decent size. So yeah, but
300 pounds altogether, not 300-pound people?
right, exactly. It's meant for one
Like
person.
not a lot, like at all. Okay, yeah, so it's like
Yeah,
for all right, I gotcha.
yeah.
When I hear trampoline, I just always think of like when I was growing up, there was a kid that lived on the street behind us, and like all the neighborhood kids would go to his house because he had like an actual trampoline, like the one that I think you're talking about, not square like in gymnastics, but it had that type of like strength and bounce back to it. And they used to get like six dudes to sit or stand on one side of the trampoline, and then like you just like start bouncing on the other side, and they do like that counterweight thing. I don't know what it's
Mhm.
called.
Like
You guys know what I'm
counterbalance
talking
thing.
about?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
yeah, and someone almost well. Yeah, so we had to stop doing it because someone almost died, obviously. But yeah, it was a pretty cool time. I remember like touching the very top branch on their like willow tree, which was at least 3 stories above the roof of their house.
God
So
damn, that's
fun,
insane.
but like obviously not uh safe or appropriate or responsible. But
The
that's okay.
top branch or the bottom branch, you mean?
The top branch.
Like the top of the tree?
Yeah, like you know when you like draw a tree and like you get to the very top before you start like making the the curve to get back down to the bottom, like yeah, the very top.
That's
Like I could see
insane.
over the tree. Yeah.
Holy fuck. And you have to land like back on the trampoline, right? Like there's no other way you're gonna survive that.
Yeah. But it's crazy because like that's essentially as high as the trampoline people are doing in gymnastics, but they're so elite that they can go from a maxed out jump to just like canceling out all the energy like when they land. Like they just landed and like just let their body like collapse and they're just like, all right, I'm done jumping. It's weird to see on
That is
television.
wild.
But yeah, good for them. Uh you said you were watching some of the less popular sports and I was thinking, is there such can a sport be in the Olympics if it's unpopular? Like doesn't like your competition pool have to be like worldwide?
Yeah, that is kind of funny.
I guess it depends on what you mean by popular.
I feel like with the Olympics they purposely pick sports that aren't popular. It's like, wow, look at this one. Like I can't even think of any of them right now, like off the top of my head, because they're so unpopular. They're not even like on my mind. But I remember like 2 or 3 podcast episodes ago, I was like looking up what actual games they were gonna have, and they definitely had super super, at least what I would consider. And we were just talking about this before we started recording, because I was like, wow, I'm like super surprised to hear about this like national soccer league, and like my city has a soccer team, and I've like never even heard of it before. Like, so like I would consider that obscure. But I had also consider like half of these like Olympics games obscure. Like, dude, let me look it up again.
I'm trying to think what's the weirdest thing I've seen so far. And I feel like fencing, it's not weird, but I don't understand. Like, it seems like I could go up there and do the same thing, like just, just like scoot forward a little bit and just like start flailing away and like
It's
hope
like,
that I get the first like touch. Because it seems like when they do touches, either side is surprised if they actually lost. They're like, no, I got it. Like, no, that I was the one that got it. And like
yeah,
every
that is
single
true.
like little encounter ends like that.
Like they
So
can't even tell who. Like if you were sword fighting in real life, you'd just both be dead.
right, yeah, exactly.
Like how is that a win? Like you're dead. Like you didn't
Yeah.
win. Yeah, I don't
So,
like that about that.
yeah, so some of those sports where it's like more like on the judge to decide, I guess, even though there's not a judge in fencing. I don't know. People are losing their shit like it was the most beautiful thing they had ever like witnessed on planet Earth that
It's like,
he could move with
"Ah!"
such majesty and like yeah. So
And
yeah,
like
it
all
was
he would do is take 2 steps forward and bend his wrist like forward, so the sword would like touch the opponent, and it did touch the opponent, and then like he just instantly loses. Like
yeah.
it's like playing tag with a stick. It's like duel. It's like a 1v1 tag off duel, basically.
I,
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed watching fencing. After I like took some time to figure out what the rules were, then it kind of made more sense.
Yeah, I need to figure out the rules. And there's like fencing and saber. I don't even know what the difference is. They're both of
Saber?
yeah, both the weapons are like flimsy like
Oh.
our antennas that bend at like the slightest breeze, so I'm not exactly sure
Like something you'd get whipped with more than you'd actually like sword fight with. Yeah, they should do like long sword duels.
with an
Or
actual
like
blade.
or like a double edged staff duel or something like that. Like that would be cooler. That would be so much cooler.
They should just like give you a sword, but with like a child's scissor blade on it, and then everyone can wear like foam suits like the ones that the police wear when they want to get attacked by German shepherds. And then you
Yeah,
could
right.
easily like see like the little slashes. It's like no one's gonna get hurt, but
That's true. Well, you could see it then.
yeah. I don't know.
Somebody
I've been enjoying it.
with the
Uh,
minion swords.
there's been so many games that I can't even like. I don't even have enough screens to watch it all, and that's saying something for me. So yeah, I hope that
Handball? What is handball?
it's
It's
like
it's like not lacrosse. Was it lacrosse that has the racket thing? Yeah, it's like that,
No,
but
isn't handball like soccer, but just you just throw it?
yeah,
it,
kind of.
it's
Yeah,
I would say it's closer to lacrosse, but with your hands instead of a stick.
I would say
Yeah.
it's like basketball, but with a goal and not a hoop.
And you don't, do you have to dribble?
I've seen people dribble, but I don't think you
Yeah.
have to.
Like I
I
see
think
people
you
do
do.
it, but right, you don't have to. Interesting. Yeah, like I was watching some clips of that one, and like it seems like there's no chance of like saving a goal.
No, it seems like it's like an incredible feat when it happens. Like if you get a
Yeah,
save, that means that you might have won like the game for your
like
team.
just because you got to save, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
but you have like a full-time goalie, like so most of the times like they just get scored on over and over again, like the whole entire game, and it's just like impossible to like block it. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Did you watch the USA basketball, John?
A little bit.
Yeah, I was happy to see that they seem to be able to play together at an elite level. I wasn't sure after that South Sudan scare. Shout out
Oh,
to South Sudan though.
did they win the next game after that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I don't even think South Sudan was in the Olympics.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
they're the ones at war or something like
yeah.
that.
I don't remember seeing their boat or whatever. What did you guys think of it? What did you guys think of the opening ceremony?
I didn't watch that.
Yeah,
Really?
No.
I only saw like a clip of it. It was like fine. Yeah, I was all right with it. There weren't countries like in an uproar about like how they were introduced or something like that.
No. Well, I mean, no. They weren't in an uproar about
And
that.
have you heard about this Last Supper thing?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. It was very,
What the fuck is that?
I don't know. The whole thing was kind of weird. It was very strange. I guess it was very French. I don't know. But like, yeah, there was like a part of it. It was almost like the whole opening ceremony was like a play that they put on in the city of Paris, and like all the acts like were supposed to signify different like weird like motifs and shit. And I don't remember where the Last Supper one was. I think the motif for that was like uh I don't know, thin. I don't know. It was something like that was supposed to be tongue in cheek, and yeah, so they had like this runway on this like bridge in the middle of Paris, and they transformed the runway into a table that looked like the scene from the Last Supper, except everyone there definitely was not a Christian. Like, like these people, like they were they were like dressed in ways that conservatives would not find pleasing or comfortable, uh, body shapes and sizes that those that hold health dear would not be comfortable with. And yeah, just like yeah, like I'm sure you heard, like they were saying it was an abomination because it was like um what's a group of people that you care about, Bluro?
A group of people?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't like Americans, I guess. Like,
Like, okay,
Wisconsinites?
well, you care about your family, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sure you have like a large like family portrait from like your last uh family like get together or reunion or something like that.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what if someone took that picture and then redid it with like all the same amount of people, but instead everyone was wearing like a white KKK hood.
I would be like,
Would you be
can
happy
you
about that?
not? Yeah, I would not be. No, I don't like that. Like, why does that have to happen?
Yeah, so like that's I guess that's how the Christians are feeling about what they saw at this opening ceremony. Uh, that it was blasphemous and not. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I only just learned today that there are actually people that are not watching the Olympics apparently or boycotting because of like the things that they saw. Um,
On the opening ceremony? Really?
mhm.
That's okay. That's a little ridiculous.
They were
I
that.
almost have to like look up this video now.
Yeah, it's wild stuff. Apparently there was also like a naked dude painted it. I did see this guy, but I wasn't looking closely enough. But I guess he was like actually like naked, which is quite yeah, quite bold, quite a move. Way to go, France. Au revoir, something something, c'est la vie, croissants. That river is also like still like filled to the brim with shit, even though like the triathletes are supposed to swim in it. So
Yeah, so like that's
what
still gonna
happened there?
happen? Wow.
I don't know. They're like, yeah, so we just tested it for E. coli, and right now it's only 3 ticks below the acceptable rate. So it'll be fine by Tuesday. If I was an
Like
elite
what?
athlete, I'd be like, the fuck do you mean it's gonna be fine by Tuesday?
Yeah,
Like,
like it's not gonna be
I spent
fine. Like,
4 years of my life for this moment, and like I would, you're telling me now I have to swim in a toilet? Like that is just,
oh my god.
yeah,
That's
I don't know.
kind of hilarious.
Do you guys think that should be part of it? Like, do you think if you are an Olympian, you are supposed to be afforded like pristine, like optimal, ideal playing conditions for whatever your sport is?
It depends on your sport. If you choose triathlons where you know the majority of the time you're going to be in bodies of water that like let's be honest, the city might or the whoever's in charge of the Olympics probably has some say over that, but the amount of control you're going to be able to do on like large bodies of water is going to be a little more hectic than like a swimming pool. So if you pick a sport where you're exposing yourself to the elements, then no. If you pick one that's mostly controlled, then sure. Yeah, I think the Olympics should make every reasonable effort to give you clean performance environments within
Okay,
Yeah, like
within reason.
in America, like isn't that like a thing like OSHA? Like if you're putting someone somewhere or like they're like working for you, like you just have to make sure their environment is like relatively safe.
Yeah, I mean that's a rule, but how much it's enforced is maybe up for debate.
yeah, if it was actually enforced correctly, I don't think OSHA violation would be like a joke. Like you just say those 2 words and people are like, "Huh, that's funny."
No.
Eh, I guess it depends like what company you work for. Because at Faith Technologies, if you said those 2 words, it was definitely not a joke. But
Like
like
you are threatening an OSHA violation from within.
uh, kind of, I guess like the company had enough before where like they had to pay, so like they had an entire department that would like come through and make sure like everything was like OSHA compliant. So like yeah, we were always like afraid of these guys. Like they're like the Nazis basically. Like what were they called?
The
Like
SS.
yeah, the SS. Yeah, they're like the SS of like that company. Like, and
But
they would come with a white glove and inspect everything and be like, very good, see.
but see, even by like that admission, the fact that you got to stay like like it's to stay in business after so many violations, it that seems like it's a joke. Like all you have to do is pay money. Like if you have an OSHA violation, is it or well, I guess the portion that we're talking about is like putting people in danger or like some type of environmental hazard where you're putting people's lives at greater risk, and the only repercussion is that you have to give up some of your profits, like, and you get to continue to do business. That seems like a joke to me. Because
They are.
if a person did that, they just be behind bars.
If a person did
Yeah.
what?
Did some of the
So they
things
don't.
that corporations get away with.
Uh, yeah, as far as like causing mass harm to people for sure, and
Yeah,
environmental damage.
yeah.
Yeah,
If you get
definitely.
killed at work, like no one's going to jail.
But right, yeah, not really, unless it was like criminal negligence, like. But usually that's never the case. Right, yeah, no one goes to jail. I mostly like they'll get sued or like they'll get workman's comp or I don't even know like what happens. But yeah, no one ever goes to jail, and the company doesn't even stop doing business even. They just have to reset that counter that says days and since accident. They just have to put it back to zero, and that's all. That's all that happens.
So really, you want it to happen.
Yeah, so then the meter gets set back to zero. Yeah.
Have either of you ever had to use one of those eye washing stations?
No,
Not
no,
unless I
I
was in
never had an
school.
emergency like
Yeah,
that.
not unless I was in like school practicing how to use one.
Okay.
Yeah, if you ever had to use one of those, your life has probably changed forever.
I always felt like, how the hell am I supposed to get to the eye washing station if my eyes fucked? Like, I'm not gonna be able to aim those shits like so perfectly. Like I'm already.
Like the eye washing station was literally just like two like water fountains like with like that were like pointed to like
It's like
shoot
two garden
directly into
hoses.
your
Like,
eyes. Yeah.
yeah.
Like, I just thought like the concept was so hilarious. Like you have to shoot water directly into your eyes, and like this must happen so often that you need a station just ready to go at all times. Like, and also like if you don't use like a sink or a water fountain after like a long time, like the water that comes out is disgusting. So, so like when you actually do get it something, is it gonna be pure like dirt rust water that comes out into your eyeballs? Because like that wouldn't be nice.
Yeah, in Paris, their eye washers just spray river Seine water.
Like you're getting an eye infection for sure. Like you will get an eye infection.
Yeah, what a
uh,
joke.
hilarious. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's too bad. I'm glad I'm not an Olympic swimmer.
yeah, I guess me too, because I would just drown. I was watching the water polo and I'm like, so y'all are trying to like drown each other.
So like
And
that's another thing. What about like currents in the water? Like, isn't that gonna like kind of mess with things? Like,
for like sailing.
mm, is that the only water sport they're doing in the river? I thought they're doing like all the water sports in the river.
That's a
Well,
great.
well, Olympic swimming has its own indoor pool, so like the shorter distances
Oh,
aren't like that.
okay. That's what I was asking about. It's like that kind of seems like it wouldn't be very fair in like a quick like short race. Like if suddenly like I was like trying to swim up like a rip stream or something and like the guy next to me like didn't experience that, like that's not fair. But okay, yeah, that so it's just like do they have to sail or like actually swim in the
Tri
There,
river?
there
triathletes
is.
would have to.
Triathletes, you
Uh,
said?
yeah, but I don't know if that's is that an Olympic sport?
Triathlon? I think I saw that in the list,
Yeah,
yeah.
So then yeah,
yeah.
they would have to.
I don't know. It's crazy to me that it's like the first week and a half of the Olympics is almost like a totally different event, and then track and field starts, and it's like, all right, here's Olympics number two.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, every sport that's outside is kind of like that, like where there might be unfair, but again, you chose that sport. Like that we watched like bow shooting, like the wind's gonna pick up sometimes. But again, is that fair? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm sure there's been other times where you probably had perfect wind conditions and your opponent didn't. So if you do it enough, I'm sure it evens out. But yeah, if you choose an outdoor sport, then you can't then complain if you, when you get to the Olympic level. Like, look, man, the wind, it's too bad. Like, okay, you knew what was coming, right?
Has
Hmm.
anyone seen Olympic breakdancing yet?
No.
It didn't start yet.
That's hilarious. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, and yet somehow like baseball isn't in it.
Oh
Baseball's
yeah.
baseball's purely American.
I thought like
What?
the
I
Asian
thought.
countries love that shit.
Yeah, I thought
Okay,
so too.
okay, so that's like, well, I don't know how many Asian countries there are, but like in most other countries, that's not very like I don't think there's enough like competitive athletes in baseball for it to be com
That big.
competitive like at an
Huh.
Olympic level.
They have
Do you think like
artistic archery.
do you say autistic? Artistic?
Autistic archery?
Yeah. I mean, I think that is a category at the Paralympics.
Autistic archery? Oh my god. This is too funny. No, artistic
Artistic
archery.
archery. That's fascinating. I've never heard of that. Are they like on horseback or something?
Like doing like dances or something like
Wait, are you serious? Artistic archery? That's a real thing.
no. No, I'm sorry. I misread that. It
Oh,
was artistic swimming. It was right underneath archery and I was and I was scrolling. I was like, "Wait, yeah, let me go back up." Athletics. Oh, that's just like running. So I
when
guess
you
nothing crazy weird.
when you guys kind of like switch between all the events and sports and stuff, do you guys feel like you get a sense that certain people are attracted to certain sports? Like, do you think you can tell anything just by the sport someone plays? Like, if someone told you, "Oh yeah, I fence," or "Oh yeah, I'm a bow shooter." Like, is there anything that you would immediately think, or is it just like, "Oh, that's interesting"?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like depending on the sport, I would know for sure that you get no pussy.
Okay, that's okay. All right. I wouldn't have picked that, but interesting. Yeah, I would imagine people think like table tennis and badminton players would fall in that category,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you're wrong. Uh,
Really? They get it in?
everybody does, especially if you're at the Olympics. Like, dude, like
Yeah.
that's like half of like the
Hmm.
whole like fun
Dude,
of
who's
it.
gonna hook up with a fucking table tennis person? Like,
I
I
don't
have a feeling they're gonna be on the bottom tier of sports people to hook up with. Like,
other table tennis. I don't
oh,
know.
you got
I
with
don't
the
know if you can
table tennis
tell.
guy? Wow. Well, good for you.
Do you think it's like that? Do you think it's like the first day of college? Like people are like, "Oh, hey, so what's your sport?"
Yeah, yeah, it's gotta be. Because they all just live in that one big building together. And, like, they're all, like, most of them are meeting each other for the first time.
Okay, so who do you? I'm asking you, Valero, and then I guess I'll ask you next, John. Even though I don't think you believe in these things, but who do you think are the coolest Olympians then, Valero?
The coolest ones?
Yeah,
Oh, like, the skiing ones, like, for sure. Like, if you're
okay,
doing helicopters upside down, like, there's probably a girl
yeah,
waiting for you, like, at the bottom of the hill.
true. Um, so I mean Summer Olympics, but I will say I think
Oh,
there
okay.
is no such thing as a bad event in the Winter Olympics. I think you're cool if you do any of them.
That is true. All
Besides
right.
curling, maybe curling's a little lame,
that's that's true. Curling, yeah, that is also true.
but it could be
Um,
cool in like a charming way. Like it's like,
a
oh, that's funny.
cool summer Olympics. I feel like you're probably gonna do well if you're in like basketball or even like maybe even soccer because of how popular it is.
Okay, I was immediately just thinking like the sprinters, like here,
Yeah,
like that's immediately what people are thinking. Either
because that's like
sprints in the water, water, or sprints on the
yeah.
track. Like you're,
I mean,
yeah,
they're usually known for having the best bodies, anyways. So that would make sense.
right. Whereas like, I mean, I'm not trying to put any sports on blast, but it's like I don't even know which one to pick. But there are certain sports where they all don't necessarily look like athletes, but they're all like good at this one thing.
Like shooting, like none of the people who are shooting look like athletes.
Yeah, sure. Or like women's hammer throw.
Women's hammer throw? Is that even a thing?
Or like also like okay, well I was gonna say beach volleyball, but of course you kind of have to be tall. They're not all tall, but they all kind of look the same. And like if you're a swimmer, they all kind of look the same.
Yeah, I would say like yeah, it's probably pretty normal that you would look the same in most of the sports. Like even like in shooting, everyone still kind of looks the same. Like they're all just like skinny looking like dudes or like whatever. Like they're like no one's too big, no one's like fat, but like no one's like overly muscular. It's just like regular looking people.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna go to the badminton arena and confuse any of those guys for a rugby athlete.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I'm looking at the list. Like, none of these, most of these like sports, like you would actually have like somewhat of an athletic build if you were playing like any of these. Except for actually no, even like yeah, even golf. Like you have like fit people doing that. I didn't even know golf was an Olympic sport actually.
yeah, that's gonna be wild. What would you say, John? Do you think you can make any assumptions just by the sport someone plays?
Um, yeah, if you know enough about the sport and like the culture of the people who are good at it. So like, um, I was watching, we were watching the like the bow and arrow, like the bow shooters, and South Korea was facing. It was like women's. It was women's. South Korea was facing China for like the gold medal match, and apparently in South Korea, like being a bow shooter is a very big thing. Like they're superstars there. So like yeah, I think you can kind of align certain sports with certain cultures. I feel like a lot of the Asian countries value sports that are much more technical, um, like not brute force, where I feel like America is much more about winning with brute force.
Brute force.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
But
sounds about
like
right.
all of the sports that I've seen the Asian countries excel at have all been highly tech. Like trampoline's another good one. Like I didn't even notice the difference until I saw someone from China do it. They did not move from the middle of the trampoline the entire time. Like, and
Oh,
they
you
were,
mean they're like,
yeah, and everyone else. Like, I literally saw a guy almost fall through the side of the trampoline because someone wasn't quick enough with the mat.
um,
Yeah. So
That's
yeah, like
hilarious.
there's just a very clear difference. Like they practice all the little things all the time, it seems like, across all the sports that they're very, very good at. And like the sports that they're not good at, it's because someone else's talent can out brute force their attention to detail. At least that's what it seems like to me.
yeah, I agree. Like we don't win very many finesse sports,
No.
unless do you count is gymnastics? Is that finesse or is that
Yeah,
power?
I would say it's a bit of both, which is why America probably can get away with it. Like that's a good example of like where it's just enough on the line and there's enough of both, where we're getting better technically, but also we have a lot of brute force athletes who are just really good at doing things crazy. So even if they don't execute at the highest level, if they just do the crazy thing and execute even half as good as someone who does the slightly less dangerous thing, they'll still win. Because like that's just
Hmm.
how the points work.
That's true.
So yeah, that's
Hmm.
but you're right. That's still gymnastics is the only example I can think of where America's like even slightly competitive, where finesse is a a factor. Well, maybe fencing, because like from what I could see of fencing, it seemed like at least the women's fences, because the women for women's, it seemed like it was two Americans facing off for the medals, and they were pretty good. And but yeah, even that like has a level of like speed and yeah. So yeah, if there's a brute force element, then America's got a chance basically. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I would count America out in
You'd
most
think
cases.
America would do better in shooting, considering we
Yeah.
love guns so much.
Did we lose?
Yeah, we're not even on any of the charts. We're nowhere to be found. But I feel like it's not the same. Like they're shooting like air rifles. If you had like a Glock or like a
Oh my God.
or, or like an AR-15, then we can do it.
You want to run people through like a milsim like combat course?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. You probably shouldn't hold that in the stadium because then people are gonna die for sure. But I mean, like, yeah, if you can somehow make that safe, then America would do good. Or if you had it where like you had to drink a beer in one hand and have your gun in the other, America would do just fine in that one.
They almost have something like that. The modern pentathlon.
You have to have a beer in one hand while you're like doing something. You can't spill any of it or something,
Yeah.
and then you have to chug the whole thing at the end or before you do it.
Yeah, you have
Dude,
to
that
be
would be good.
the type of person that's like so interesting that you're drinking while telling a tall tale, but also like doing a trick. So yeah, okay, so here's a good question. Like if you let's say all of a sudden you're gonna make a new best friend in the next 2 months, like which event or sport would you expect them to play? Like which is the most likely in your mind?
If I were
Olympic
to make a
sport?
new friend,
Yeah.
soccer for me for sure. That's an easy one.
Probably probably archery, something like that. Something finesse.
Yeah. I think I would pick anything with a racket. Like I don't want to say tennis. There are some not nice people in tennis, unfortunately.
Like some real snobby douchebag.
Yeah, yeah, stuff like that. See, like you already had that assumption. It's true, but yeah, yeah, maybe table tennis. They seem like nice, quiet, determined folk.
Yeah, you might not be getting any pussy, but you won't be like getting into any trouble either.
No, I think they're pretty like, I think they're pretty elite over on the eastern side of the globe.
Think yeah, you think so? Table tennis? You think the table tennis dudes are just like walking into any room and like everyone's like,
Yeah, I think so.
that's
That's what
wild.
they're acting like in the arena. They're losing their shit.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I was ordering something on one of these delivery apps earlier this week while I was watching the Olympics because I didn't want to like get up and cook. And I mentioned this to you, Valero, but I noticed that they now like give you like a free trial to like different services when you like buy something on one of those apps as like part of your receipt. I don't know. Have you guys encountered this yet?
Like a free trial to what?
Like a channel like, oh, here's 30-day free trial to Peacock, or hey, here's like a 1 month free trial to Factor.
When you try and order food online?
Like when I order anything through like Uber Eats or DoorDash or Grubhub, like now after you like complete the order and
Damn, they
it
must be getting
before
desperate.
before it started with nothing, and then they added like, hey, order from somewhere else and like it won't cost you extra. And now they have that, and like at the bottom of your bill there is like a promotion for something. And I've even seen like videos too, like commercials, like at the bottom of it.
Yeah, I think I heard that like the food delivery apps have been unprofitable for so long that at this point, as far as making money, they're just turning to selling your data and to getting you to watch commercials. Like that's as best they can do. So at the end of the day, they're just a data company, just like any other online company. It's like
And that's the
they
end
don't
game.
even make money. Like yeah, they don't make money actually delivering food or doing what like the whole purpose of their app is. I'm just like, wow, that's I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like they couldn't figure out how to actually make money. Oh my god. Yeah, that doesn't
Okay,
surprise
so
me.
have you guys ever paid for the premium whatever member tiers of any of those things?
No. I've always known that like I just yeah, it's always been too expensive at first and even if I can get over the part that it like just it how expensive it is, I feel like over half, I would say like 80% of my experiences from like getting like any of the online delivery stuff, like the food is just so not good. Like, and I feel like it also depends like where you live too. Because I feel like whenever I'm at your place, Gouda, it's always like fine, like, and it doesn't take too long to get there. But like over by my place, like nothing's getting here quick, and like everything's gonna be super soggy. Like, and it's gonna be wrong. Like, it will be wrong. Like, you just have to accept that. Like, you're not gonna get what you ordered.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just like, nah. I've done it. I've ordered for them because I've gotten desperate, but I've never been like, you know what? I'm gonna use this enough to make the subscription thing worth it.
Okay. What about you, John?
No, I don't even use food delivery apps, and when I did, I never had any paid version of it.
What would so like before we started recording, we were talking about tickets to like low class or like basically non like visible or like very like a few tiers below professional awards. And we're wondering how much those tickets would cost. And I guess there was some kind of like package that let you like meet the owner and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So so like what does someone have to include for you guys to actually spring for a premium package like that? Like why would you spend the extra money to get more than just the ticket?
Like, I'd have to be like John was saying before, like, you have to have like a long enough relationship with these people, like watching them, to make it feel like, you know what, like actually meeting the person behind this would actually like mean something to me. Then I could see that like I would pay like the extra money to do that.
Um, so are you saying like premium is in you just pay more like because in my mind I guess it's kind of premium the ticket thing, but also you're kind of prepaying for all of your admissions, and because you do that, you get a lower cost in some cases, right? It might be more. I think about it like insurance. So in a lot of ways, if you offer me the opportunity to pay you more and prepay, and because of that I get a discount, and I'm going to use the service for a certain amount of time anyway, then I'll just pay the whole amount. Like anytime anyone gives me the option to pay for the year, I'll pay it. If it's a service like that. Like so any streaming service, if they give me the option to pay for the year, I pay for the year. If insurance, if they give me the option to pay 6 months or a year, whatever it is, I'll just pay because I just don't want to deal with it. I'd rather deal with it one time and be done. Now, if it's just an extracurricular thing, you have to be, yeah, either providing me immensely more value or a discount. So, like, another example I would say is the zoo. We have summer zoo passes, and we usually just buy them every year now. And because we go to the zoo so much, it makes more sense for us to just pay the whatever the total amount is. I don't know what the amount is. Then have to pay for a ticket every single time we go for three of us. But we
Mm-hmm.
also go to the zoo. We go to the zoo so much that like the last time we were there, the lady said, "You guys have a family pass, right? You're here a lot." And then she just let us go without having to do anything. It's
She's
like
like, I already know you
yeah,
have
she
one.
like remembered us. So yeah, like it, for me that just makes more sense because it's one, now it's more convenient because they know who we are now, and two, it's just costless. So you have to give me some type of cost incentive usually.
Did that clerk look down at your feet too and be like, "Oh yeah, nice shoes"?
No, but that I wouldn't have put that past her. That's a good one.
Did you mention that on the podcast?
Yeah.
I mentioned that on the podcast. Yeah, not we talked about the rest of it later though. Yeah, about the affiliate thing. But yeah, they looked at our feet in Costco. Haha.
That's wild. There's literally nothing I can think of that someone could be wearing that would make me like think anything. Well, actually, no. That's a damn lie. If someone was wearing actual like tennis shoes for tennis, I'd be like, "Oh, so you're like a tennis player then?" And if they were like,
Tennis
"What?"
shoes. What? I just like these shoes.
I'd be like, "God damn it!" Like, there's no way. You have to go to like the tennis store to buy them. So
Yeah, that guy knew.
yeah,
That guy knew about those no shoes.
and he was like, "Man, looks like your feet are pretty low to the ground." Pretty cool.
He's like, you got a promo code too? He's like, way to go.
Oh man. Yeah. So beyond saving you money, what's it gonna take? What does someone have to add to that package for you to spring for the premium, John?
To what? I guess it depends. It must be like thing specific. So I don't know. It depends on what it is. Give me an example, and I could probably give you a better answer.
Okay, so let's say it's the zoo tickets again, and right now it's $100 to get a pass for the three of you for a year, but there's a $500 tier, and you don't save any money at all, but it includes something.
There's
What
nothing
would that something have to be?
there's nothing the zoo could offer me that would be worth 500.
Nothing?
No,
It's
Is
premium.
there
I
is
don't
there
give a.
anything anyone could offer you that wasn't just straight cash back? Like that would make it worth it?
It would have to be like if I went to a basketball game and I get like for $100 I'm sitting in a regular seat, but for 500 I get to meet the players and take pictures for like 20-30 minutes. Then I guess maybe. But that's the only thing I could think of that could make any difference. Like the zoo is the zoo. That's what, like I can't think of anything
They're
in the
like,
zoo.
there's like, what can we do for you? And you're like, nothing.
Nothing.
There's literally nothing you can do. Like,
Literally.
just give me my money back. You cannot help me any more than
Yeah.
give me
Well,
my money.
it's kind of like unless like Disney World. Like I would compare it to because Disney World actually has different tiers of people, like where you can get different tickets. Like if you're ultra rich, your experience at Disney World is way different than the normal person. So like that's an experience I could sort like a bit again. I would have to be filthy rich to even consider a package like that. Otherwise, I'm just not going to go to Disney World because I'm not going to sit in line for 2 hours or 3 hours. I'm just not going to do that. Like, there's nothing you can offer me that's like a middle tier option that'd be like, yeah, if you just come here, we'll give you like, it's only an hour and a half wait or an hour. Like, no, what's the fucking point? Like, no, I'm just gonna stay home. Like, it's just not worth it.
Okay, so what if the zoo said for this $500, you and the other group of exclusive premium zoo members get to meet the new animals before the rest of the public.
No. Being
Dang, okay. Well,
being first to do something is not super like compelling to me.
What if you got to meet the owner of the zoo and get his autograph?
Yeah, there it is. That's the one right there.
Why are you laughing? Like, some people might actually want to see
They might, yeah. They
I don't
might
know
do
why I
that.
never even considered like the zoo has an owner. Like there is a one person. It was like, yeah, let me let's get all these animals in one place and just
just start
collect
Yeah.
this money, bro. Who's checking on them? Do they have to answer to anyone? Like any like animal like rights groups or anything like that?
They
probably
probably
just
have
whoever
they have
counted in the state.
yeah, they have regulators
Okay,
or regulatory bodies, I guess I should say.
interesting.
Yeah, and their own like health staff and stuff. Because I remember we went to
Yeah.
we,
How much would that be worth it to you? Like, if at the end of the zoo, the owner would be waiting for you in particular, and you got to ask him any question you wanted.
nothing.
Holy shit, dude! This guy's been operating like the only zoo in town for the last like 50 years. Like,
That's good for him.
surely there's something interesting. Like, you wouldn't pay. I would pay like $3 to $4 at least. Like, even if I didn't care about this guy, just to be like, oh hey, like I don't know, just like to ask him like two questions. Like the
Yeah,
owner of the whole zoo. That'd
I
be like,
just
surely there's something interesting this guy knows, right?
I just value my time more than that. Like I don't want to go looking for the things that the zoo owner might know. That's not worth it for three. That's not worth even $3 or $4 to me.
Actually, you know what? I'm really interested in what you would answer for that question, Gouda. Like, is there
Can I
anything
just
the
try one
zoo
more
could
thing?
offer you?
Can I try one more thing on John?
Okay, yeah.
All right. How about
Why are you sticking with the zoo? What? I don't think there's
because I
any.
know you go there.
What?
Because I know you go there. You just told me.
Oh, okay.
So how about premium, front row, weatherized, heated, always clear parking spot?
Always clear?
No. See,
That would be kind of interesting.
see, like this, and this is the difference between like living in the country and where you guys live. Because what you're offering me doesn't even have value here.
Yeah, they all just drive right into the zoo. And it's like, all right.
Yeah, we all just park in a very barren lot in the dirt, like literally. So what?
Dirt?
Yeah, it's like a grass dirt lot, like literally. So like it makes no sense for me to even be parked up front. Like who cares? So I like nope, not even that would mean anything to me.
So in your life, actually, no, I can answer that for myself. I was gonna say in your life, there's nothing that you consider premium, but I've seen you buy premium gaming peripherals, so
Yeah. If it's something I'm going to do and I'm going to get a lot of use out of, and that product, the premium product, is better objectively from my point of view than the regular one, then yeah, I'll pay for the premium product because I think I'll get more use out of it and better use out of it. Like my controller, like I bought a $120 controller and I have for the last, well, not this or last year, but when I was gaming a lot, I used to buy them, and for like 3 years straight, I bought like that and a warranty with it. So like that was worth it to me because it was a better controller. But now I don't game anymore. So like if you ask me today would I buy it? Nope. I just don't game enough to justify it. So yeah, if it's something I'm going to use a bunch, for sure. But yeah, just experiences. It's hard to justify, especially with like the zoo. But yeah, with anything else, like yeah, I might if you're just gonna upgrade me, maybe like first class tickets, like first class on a plane, I'd pay for that if I was really rich.
so what is it about the first class ticket? Like, is it where is it saving you like
Proxim
time?
proximity to other people.
But you
Not
didn't want
not
to go
not
to
as
those
crowded.
like
Not as crowded.
see like the new animal like with less people,
Yeah, because I don't care about animals that much.
but your family does.
Sure, but you asked me. They might have different answers.
Okay.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
pay for it.
I want to know what you would pay the premium for, Gouda.
Nothing. I don't care about the zoo.
Yeah, the zoo. Yeah.
Well, like, what example can we give you? Like, uh, yeah, like, what example could we give you?
Is there like
With
like
like,
a premium tennis racket that you would buy over a normal one?
No.
No. Okay.
what about, yeah, would you ever buy like box seat tickets to like a tennis match or something? Like, if it was your
Mm,
favorite person.
I would only do that if it came with other amenities. Like the premium has to last longer than just the one like session. It has to come with other things too.
So you
Like I
would.
can't like I wouldn't pay $50 to go see a movie in like the God seats with like I don't know, an unlimited popcorn bucket. Like I wouldn't pay for that. So
Yeah. Yeah, I might pay for a premium movie theater experience.
I don't know. Like, well, okay, so why?
But that would be like if I'm going to like a better theater, not like there's a regular section and an upgraded section. I wouldn't pay for that. But like if I was going to a theater where all the seats were like, because I've been to one where I felt like it was just a more premium experience. The seats were way better. Everyone was spaced out a lot further. Like the food was better. It was just better. Like the entire thing was just better.
Yeah,
But
I've been to
that
one of
was an
those.
experience.
What was that?
But that was an experience.
Right. Not an
But
not an
that in
upcharge.
itself isn't a premium kind of. Like
That
if it was
premium
owned by the
experience.
same company as the cheap theater, in a way they could offer that as their premium, I guess.
I don't think you could offer that in the same theater with regular seats. I don't think it'd be
Right, it would have to
possible.
be a whole new location, but it
Right.
could be owned by the
Yes.
same company theoretically, and
Right,
you would
but
be fine with
but if you had a building where you had like like a regular theater where you could see the one movie, and then like the premium theater where there's way less seats and you have to pay more, I'd go to the one where you have to pay more. I'd pay more for that.
it. Yeah, yeah. So that's a premium he would accept. So we were just going up the wrong tree with the zoo. Like
Yeah, I
the
don't care
zoo
about the
really does
zoo.
not hold that. He's really just doing that for his family. Like
Dude, the zoo is just like the animals are interesting, and I love seeing like my daughter loves animals, of course, but the zoo is definitely not for me. I'm hot,
he's like, I don't
sticky,
give a fuck.
like God. The best part
Yeah,
of the zoo
honestly,
is
I know
like
exactly what
yeah,
you mean though.
it's just
I was just
pictures.
at the zoo the other day, and yeah, I was completely exhausted, like hot the entire time, just like wet on the inside.
Yeah, on
Like,
the inside. Ugh.
yeah, it's
Yeah, if I didn't have a family, I don't think I'd ever go to the zoo.
yeah, for sure. Like, I would never go to the zoo if I didn't have like a daughter. So
So if
yeah.
if the movie theater offers you a season subscription, and the regular one is let's just pretend $50 out there, and $100 gets you into a separate like premium viewer section
Hmm.
where that theater is only like it only has like I don't know 20 seats and they're all like spaced apart as if it's COVID. Like you literally cannot sit any closer than like 10 feet to someone else. They're just like that far like spaced apart. And it's like lazy boys, all that jazz. And you're basically like paying for a cover fee to get through those doors.
And I have to also pay. Like, does that get me into the movie, or do I have to also pay for the movie?
No, it includes the movie.
Oh, yeah, I'd pay for that. Yeah, that's
Okay.
great. Because then that's the other thing. It has to be like the experience has to be better than I would get at home for less. Like,
Mm.
in order for me to get that product at home, I'd basically have to like build a theater room or like part of one, and that would cost me a lot. So basically, I could do that for way cheaper over and over and over and over again and get close to the same experience. So yeah, that seems worth it to me.
Okay. But so to answer Valero's question, um, well,
You're frozen.
well, you can still hear me. That's fine.
Wait, does it look like you're frozen on your screen too, or something?
Yeah,
Uh, that's weird.
that's
Yeah.
fine. We're like almost at an hour, but I would just want to quick answer your question, Valero. If it's gonna make me more comfortable, I'm always willing to pay more for that. So, yeah.
Like, what if, like, if only if it makes you more comfortable?
Yeah. I don't
Like,
really
what if,
care so much about like saving time. Like if something was like if you get this ticket, you'll get there an hour earlier. I don't really care. If there was an option for it to take longer and like I save money, I will pick that option.
what if there is an option, but it wasn't saving you any time, but you got to speak to the owner at the end and get his autograph?
No, it's fine.
Like, what if you got to speak to the owner? Like, what if, like, for like Lime, what if at the end of your ride, the owner, the CEO of Lime, was just like waiting there, like where you dropped off your scooter, and was like, "Hey, like, how's it going? Like,
I would pay a
anything I could do
premium.
to make your Lime experience
I
better?"
would pay a premium for no one from Lime to talk to me ever again.
You're like, so that experience would be worth -$10.
Yeah, that would be an awful experience actually.
You're like, would you like to pay $10 to avoid meeting the CEO of?
Hmm.
If
Yeah,
you
like
don't pay this, the CEO will be there and he's gonna try and ask you questions.
yeah. Yeah, then I would just stop using the service. That's simple.
Hey, how was your time? Is there anything I can do to help you? Anything I can help you find?
In
Yeah,
fact,
that's
there
true.
have
Like,
been there have been services where I've canceled that were just too yeah, they were too like on my ass, like trying like even if they were trying to like be nice and be like, hey, like how are things going? Like, hey, like just checking in. Like, hey, like what do you think about the next step? Hey, it's I'm like, get the fuck out of my face.
yeah, I'm
I
blocking
can
you.
do this. Like I'm a grown, like intelligent adult, I like to think. So
Yeah, I definitely get. I definitely have some products that immediately came to mind when you said that. That I'm signed up for on accident somehow, like through work. It's like,
yeah.
yeah,
So
your marketing is aggressive.
if you're making my time or my space more peaceful or comfortable, then yeah, I'm gonna pay extra for that. But if you're not gonna give me that, then it has to include a a benefit that lasts longer than just that day. So if I paid $100 for that movie ticket, I would expect to get free popcorn every time I come in for the rest of the month.
Okay. So basically, the moral of the story here is nobody cares about meeting the owner and getting their autograph.
Correct.
All right. Well, sorry, companies can't use that one.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
All right. We're gonna leave it there. Uh, thanks guys for joining me. Episode 59. We'll see you next time.
All right.